Now we're back at the plans page, and I want to show you how a member is going to order blueprints through our website, and this is true for both a basic and premium member. Using these selection tools, whether they select all of the drawing sheets, portions of a section of drawings, or specific sheets themselves, once the selections are made, go ahead and click on this little red money icon bag, and we've got the order form for us. If we want to perhaps have the Builders Exchange ship us those drawing sheets, $3 a sheet, shipping plus tax, you would continue with that order and then enter in credit card information to place that order directly through the website. Up until this point, we've spent all of our time talking about projects that are in the bidding phase. However, back if you remember at the very beginning of the video, we talked about projects after the bid and projects before the bid. So we've got projects post-bid and planning projects. So we're going to take a look now at the planning projects. The planning projects would be useful. Those are projects in the design phase for members that want to get their product in the spec book. So they know when to contact the architect, or maybe it's just a company that is a bigger company and they want to make sure they've got slated information for a big project that's coming out to bid in a year. So what we're going to do to access that information is through the projects button right here, we're going to click on planning where it says show all. Now we've got a long list, very long list of projects. You can search, print, toggle that view again just like we can with any filter page. We've got this information here that we can track without email, print, or hide these projects. Now when we look at the number at the top of the page, it seems overwhelming, and it is. It's a very big number. We have a lot of projects that are in the planning phase that we keep up with on a 6-month time frame. But what we have done to make it a little bit easier for our members is we've broken all of them down into 3 separate categories. So if you want to focus on one of these particular categories within the planning phase, you can. Design firm not yet assigned literally means there is no architect or engineer to design that project yet. So perhaps the school district or an owner, a city, is looking for some kind of referendum or bonding to push that project to the RFP phase, where they would then find an architect and a project move into the design firm assigned category. Finally, after that, we get a few projects that come through the Builders Exchange that have a construction manager assigned to them before they come out to bid, and that's what would reflect what those projects would be. So clicking on planning design firm assigned, that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So now my number is a lot more manageable. From here I can either look through the list, or in this situation I'm going to go ahead and click this find button, and I'm tracking a specific project, so I'm going to show only my tracked projects, filter that, and now I've got a project that I want to pull your attention to, just because the notes is where we're going to go to look at information on this project in the planning phase. So again, unlike the projects in the bidding phase, we can't narrow down these projects based on the type of work, whether it be division or a SAM search. We can't do that because there are no specifications or plans yet. So what you're really looking at as far as the planning projects go is paying attention to the notes field. Of course, there's no bid date for this project yet because we don't know. It's in the planning phases, but here's the scope as well as the notes. The notes is going to reveal what's going on with the project during that planning phase. Back in July, the City Council reviewed the feedback from the community and are going to continue developing this project. September 2019, the architect's going to present the schematic design at the City Hall, and then potential construction anywhere between 2020 and 2022. So by contacting the architect engineer at an appropriate time, there may be a manufacturer's rep member that will get their product into the spec book as a result of making that contact. So when that project does come out to bid, they are in fact included in the spec book. So those would be projects in the planning phase. Again, tracking those projects like I'm tracking this one is just as important, because when it does come out to bid, it's alerted to you in your nightly email update that it's now an active bidding project. So we've talked about projects that are out to bid, we've talked about planning projects. Now we're going to take a look at projects in the post-bid phase. So after the project's bid, what happened to them? We've got the post-bid projects here under the expandable projects menu. If I click on all post-bid projects, what I get is a listing of all of the projects that are currently in the post-bid phase. Something important to keep in mind about our website is knowing that every project that bids today at 12:01 a.m. automatically gets put onto the Parent Lowe's post-bid contract awards page. So it's going to populate here whether or not we have contract awards or lows for it. Regardless of that, if a project does have contract awards or apparent lows, they're still going to be pulled out on this page for you here. So even in looking at this long list, you can see the helpful tool of having this information here right in front of you. However, if you do want to narrow it down a little bit, we've got apparent lows or projects with apparent lows and projects with contract awards. Again, apparent lows would be when we find out who the low bidder was, and contract awards, we close out the project by finding out who was awarded the project. So if you choose to do so, you can go to a list with just projects having apparent lows listed on them, and there are the apparent lows for particular projects pulled out within them, underneath them. Under the Research tab is where I want to call your attention next. We're going to go to the Research Center. So if there's a particular company, person, or company type that you want to look up, you can do that from this screen right here. Once I've done that, I get a listing of the companies that have Wold Architects in the title. Again, there's that M telling us that Wold is in fact a member of the Builders Exchange. If we click on the title of their company name, we're brought to their specific page of information. We've got their contacts, we've got any personnel and correlating emails that we have that go with them. And then most importantly, at the bottom of this page is basically the life of this company on our website as it correlates to the projects. So we've got a breakdown of projects by bidder type, so whether or not they were an architect or engineer. Got a breakdown by project type, so whether or not it's a new construction or an addition. And then down here, we've got it broken down by geographic area, so we can see where most of their projects take place geographically. Back here, also pointing out that every single one of these numbers is a live link. So right now, Wold Architects listed on 3 particular projects. If I click on 3, right now I can know what those 3 projects are that they're listed as either an architect or engineer for projects that are out to bid right now. Finally, we are back at the Deskpad page, so we've gone full circle through the website. And the last thing that I want to point out is the only thing on the Deskpad page that we haven't talked about is this My Reminders portion. There's a few ways that it works. At the top, I've got today and tomorrow. What this is doing, it's telling me which of my projects that are tracking are bidding either today or tomorrow. So again, being able to log onto the website and right away see this information is very helpful. Another thing that you can do is add a reminder. Submit bids to GC. Maybe you want to be reminded of that first thing tomorrow morning when you come into the office, or maybe next week, whatever. You can choose your date and time. Save that reminder, and now you'll see under tomorrow there's my reminder and the time. Clicking on it will allow me to edit, delete, and then resave that reminder if I choose to do that. Again, that's something that nobody else than individuals logged in as your company can see. So keeping that in mind is a useful tool. Communicating with your coworkers both about projects on the Builders Exchange and what you've got going on with projects themselves. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this tutorial video. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or visit mbex.org/tutorial for a printable version of this tutorial. MBEX would like to thank the sponsors of this video: the Builders Group, Johnson, Adolphson Peterson Construction, Market & Johnson, Scaffold Service, Sheet Metal Connectors.